Hello, it's Sister Unity, and it's time for Bible study. Today, we'll be reading from Ezekiel, chapter 23, and I believe chapter 22, but I'll start with 23. So if you would turn your Bibles kindly to Ezekiel 23. Now, I give you a little backstory. It is God speaking and talking about two sisters whose names are Ohola and Oholibah. I have to remind you, I may get the pronunciations wrong. I'm Hindu, not Christian, but I am queer drag nun, and so it is beholden upon me, of course, to present you with teachings and excerpts from the Christian Bible. This one is the New Open Bible, which was given to me in computer school by the man who sat next to me, who was just an absolute love, a very, very sweet, generous, kind heart, which has stood me in very good stead, because as a nun, sometimes, it's not all mantras and yoga. Sometimes you do get asked to speak on the Bible, and so you can tell I'm serious because I'm putting on my reading glasses. So let's start with Ezekiel, I think 23:17. And so the Lord is talking about these two sisters, and he says that one sister it represents Samaria, where the Good Samaritan came from. Ohola is Samaria, and Oholibah is Jerusalem. It says right in Ezekiel 23:4, and their names were Ohola, the elder, and Oholibah, her sister, and they became mine, and they bore sons and daughters. And as for their names, Samaria is Ohola, and Jerusalem is Oholibah. I apologize for the pronunciation if I'm getting it wrong. Now, apparently these two sisters were very naughty, and they did all sorts of naughty things that today in Los Angeles would be considered nightlife. But we're picking up at 17. Now, there's a point to reading this too. I want to show you something that I found quite liberating. 17. And the Babylonians came to her to the bed of love, and they defiled her with their harlotry. And when she had been defiled by them, she became disgusted with them. And she uncovered their harlotries and uncovered her nakedness. Then I became disgusted with her. Bitch, please. As I had become disgusted with her sister. I think he killed her sister earlier in the chapter. Yet she multiplied her harlotries. Remember, did they do it on Sesame Street when they taught multiplication? Did they multiply harlotries? And uncovered her. Yet she multiplied her harlotries, remembering the days of her youth, when she played the harlot in the land of Egypt. And she lusted after their paramours, whose flesh is like the flesh of donkeys, and whose issue is like the issue of horses. Verse 20. We'll come back to verse 20. You may want to mark it in your copy. Thus you longed for the lewdness of your youth, when the Egyptians handled your bosom because of the breasts of your youth. It goes on. Oholibah is going to, get her lovers to fight God or some weirdness like that. I'm sure he slays them. He smites. Jehovah smites. There's a lot of smiting in the book. But that verse 20, it is the Bible itself that teaches us and our children, who we ask to read the Bible cover to cover, that donkey dick is a thing. Now, I sound like I'm being irreverent, but what other meaning is there from her paramours, whose flesh is like the flesh of donkeys, and whose issue is like the issue of horses? We're talking about sex, we're talking about nakedness and harlotries, and she's screwing all these paramours who are from Babylon, and the Babylonian paramour's flesh is like the flesh of donkeys. What does that mean? It's covered in gray hair? Does it mean the organs are arranged as the organs of a donkey? No, I think in this context, it means that a particular piece of flesh, a particularly fleshy piece of flesh, is like a donkey's. Well, what's one of the most prominent pieces of flesh on a donkey that comes up in human conversation all the time? Yes. And the issue, and issue is a word that's used elsewhere in the Bible, at least in the English translations, to mean that which produces children. Children are issue, and that which makes the children is issue. And the issue is like the issue of horses. Well, what else are the horses producing? The issue is not racing speed. It's horse jizz. It's in the Bible. The Bible talks about the body in these fecund ways. It recognizes sexuality. Now, it moralizes about them, at least in this one. I haven't read the whole part, so I'm not sure what if just having sex was bad, or if it was that they were having affairs, but if you read Jacob and the part of Jacob, everyone knows the section on Onan, who spilled his seed. Well, the thing about that chapter is, and you can see my earlier video on this, is that Tamar, the wife of Jacob's eldest son, who Onan was then supposed to have sex with, in order for her to produce children, because if the older brother dies, God smote him and he died, then other brothers have to inseminate that brother's wife, and it's considered that that's the dead brother's children. It's like a sperm favor that the Bible condones and recommends, and was common practice amongst the Israelites of that day. Well, Onan spills the seed on the ground instead of impregnating her, so God slays Onan. What ends up happening is she disguises herself as a temple prostitute, it's in the book, and tricks Jacob into screwing her, and then shows up back at home at Jacob's house pregnant, and Jacob says, well, clearly you're a slut, get out. And she's like, you think I'm a slut? It was you who screwed me. And then she produces proof that he had given her when she thought she was a slut. He gave her some collateral, because he was like, I'll pay you later. Here, take my staff and my goat. And she's like, well, here's your staff and your goat. You owe me 3,000 shekels or whatever. And Jacob's like, okay, it was you. I have screwed you. You're carrying my child. You can stay. Well, that means that they're temple prostitutes, and that it was perfectly okay that Jacob went to a temple prostitute. Sexuality is okay in the Bible. It just gets moralized. But people have, as biblical scholar Dan McClellan says, people negotiate with the text and bend it to their will and insert their own interpretations that are not actually there in the scholarly understanding of the Greek and the Aramaic. All this to say is that if you are in the Christian discourse, if you're raised Christian, if you are Christian, and you've got this thing about being gay or lesbian or sexual, the Bible understands sexuality. It's in there. And if you're a Christian and you're looking to ban books that are overtly sexual, lest children find them in their school library, for heaven's sake, well, you'd better take the Bible off the shelves first, because you heard what I read. All right. To change topics, now I want to read you from Ezekiel chapter 22. And please listen to the words more than just like, oh, Bible-y, 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 blah, 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 blah. Listen to what it's saying. Because it's talking about a situation way back then that sounds awfully familiar to our situation now. Ezekiel chapter 22. Then the word of the Lord. I'm trying to read without my glasses. There, that's better. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, and you, son of man, will you judge? Will you judge the bloody city? Then cause her to know all her abominations. And you shall say, thus says the Lord God, a city shedding blood in her midst, so that her time will come, and that makes idols, contrary to her interest, for defilement. Who leads one of our cities? Who leads our nation and makes idols? Like, I don't know, a golden statue, an arch aggrandizing them, names on public buildings. You have become guilty by the blood which you have shed. They have shed blood. Ask Minneapolis. and defiled by your idols which you have made. Thus you have brought your day near, and have come to your years. Therefore I have made you a reproach to the nations, and a mocking to all the lands. Whose government is mocked, laughed at, and reproached by who used to be our allies, certainly by our adversaries. Those who are near and those who are far from you will mock you, you of ill repute and full of turmoil. Just read what he posts. It's filled with turmoil. He creates turmoil. Turmoil is his stock in trade for getting attention and directing attention away from what he doesn't want you to pay attention to. He bullies. He creates turmoil to get what he wants. Behold, the rulers of Israel, each according to his power, have been in you, this foreign city, for the purpose of shedding blood. The rulers of Israel have been in our city for the purposes of shedding blood. They have treated father and mother lightly within you. The alien they have oppressed in your midst. The alien they have oppressed in your midst. Sodom and Gomorrah were not destroyed for homosexuality. That's not what the text says. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed for inhospitality, for the Lord's messengers being received inhospitably by the people of Sodom and the people of Gomorrah. You have the alien they have oppressed in your midst. The fatherless and the widow they have wronged in you. You have despised my holy things and profaned my Sabbaths. Slanderous men have been in you for the purpose of shedding blood. Men who lie, who just want to shed blood. And in you they have eaten at the mountain shrines. Oh, terrible, terrible sin to eat at mountain shrines. In your midst they have committed acts of lewdness. In you they have uncovered their father's nakedness, and in you they have humbled her who was unclean in her menstrual impurity. So the sin is not menstruating. The sin is shaming women for menstruating. And one has committed abomination with his neighbor's wife, and another has lewdly defiled his daughter-in-law, and another in you has humbled his sister, his father's daughter. It's not exact, but it really reminds me of, if she were older, I'd date her. He said it about his daughter. In you they have taken bribes to shed blood. You have taken interest and profits, and you have injured your neighbors for gain by oppression. And you have forgotten me, declares the Lord. In you they have taken bribes to shed blood. You have taken interest and profits, manipulated the market so that your interests and investments received bigger profits. Behold, then, I smite my hand at your dishonest gain which you have acquired, and the bloodshed which is among you. Can your heart endure, or can your hands be strong in the days that I shall deal with you? I, the Lord, have spoken, and shall act. Well, God's lips to God's ears. There is some smiting that needs to go on, because in my understanding, all of these actions have been taken by certain national parties now in power. It's in the Bible. Christians, it's in your book. Won't you join the effort to bring morality back to high office? And as much as I know how much it would mean to you for all of our government to be your religion, please remember the wisdom of the founding fathers, who made America a place for Christians, where Christians could worship, but did not make a Christian place. They made a place where Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists, and atheists could live with equal rights, equal opportunity to business, and having a home, having a family, and equal opportunity to set up a church, a mosque, a temple. We are free to practice our religions amongst each other. But we are not free to exercise greed in insisting that everyone subscribe to our religion. That's what created all of the problems that that the Bible is citing. Don't you see? Well, that's today's lesson from the Holy Bible. Just remember, the Lord is well aware that some men have the flesh of donkeys and the issue of horses. So you can take that, my gay brothers and sisters, my bisexual brothers and sisters, and enjoy your day at the racetrack, or the farm, or the place where they keep donkeys. Does Grinder have a donkey division?